Okay. So as we discussed yesterday in the outcome-based education, are you able to see my slides? Anybody can anybody respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is
Yes, sir.
visible. Clear, sir.
Fine, very good, very good. So I said that alumni, they are a very important component and one of the very important stakeholders in any educational institutions. So it becomes imperative that we look at managing alumni relations, right? Now let me begin by pondering at a point that which is the difficult of all the situations. Heading a department, yes, certainly it is difficult because you have to mind the experienced faculty members who are teachers who have been uh, controlling students, and now you have to control the teachers as the head of the department. Now when you become the principal of a college, the responsibility increases manyfold because now you have to look at many such departments. And then one responsibility could be that you are the provost of the students' halls of residence. That becomes more challenging because being the head of the principal, that might require just managing the experienced people in the faculty members. But managing students who are residing in the halls of residence, that gets very difficult because that becomes a 24 hours job. You never know when they are going to require your attention, when they are going to fight among themselves, and you are there to solve the problem and so forth. And then the most difficult of all the situations will be to become the dean of alumni affairs. I'm speaking from my experience because all these responsibilities I have done at some point of time or the other. So becoming the dean of alumni affairs is the most difficult job because you have to manage the alumni who are spread all over the globe. So that way the time, the time factor is completely done away with. There may be an alumnus sitting in the United States for whom you have 12 hours of time difference. Then you have the alumni on the eastern part, somewhere in Singapore or China or Japan, or in the southern hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand. So as we say, na raat apni hoti hai, na din apna hota hai. They may call you, they may email you, and they expect the reply immediately. And as I said yesterday, alumni, they behave like students, even though they are experienced. So it gets very difficult and a very mixed kind of responsibility. And then the last but not the least, engaging a class like what I'm doing today, teaching the teachers may even be more challenging. That depends on how we get along. Anyway, the last line was more of a, on the lighter side though. So the Dean of Alumni Affairs has to effectively manage students of all ages. In the university or the educational institution, you have to manage the students 20 years old, 25 years old, at max 30 years old. But now when you are the Dean of Alumni Affairs, you have to manage students who may have just graduated, to somebody who is maybe of the age of your father, like 80 years old, 90 years old, right? So this becomes more challenging than adult education even. In adult education, at least they have something at stake. They have the degree to obtain. They have the diploma or the certificate to obtain. In the case of alumni, they have already had the degrees. So there is nothing that you can get the hold on them with. Managing students who do not have to pass, that is the first challenge when dealing with the alumni. It becomes most demanding and also most thankless job, because all the bad things that may have happened that come to you, and all the good things, they go to the vice chancellor. So you do not get the credit of good things while you accrue all the discredit of the bad things. So that way it is very challenging, and I am speaking out of my experience. Before we proceed, let us understand this very basic thing. Alumni is the male plural word. Alumnus is the male singular. All of us make mistakes here. Alumnus is male singular. Alumni is male plural. Alumnae is female plural. And alumna is female singular. And if we have to write a gender neutral term, we can write alumni oblique alumnae. And this is basic English. One of the distinguished alumnus or alumna is wrong, because they are singular words. Whenever we are using one of the distinguished, so we have to use the plural. So I'll have to use one of the distinguished alumni or alumnae. So that is what we have to keep in mind. Now, next, stakeholders of an academic institution. Obviously, the most important stakeholders, they are the students, and then the faculty members, and then the other staff members, and then parents are also one of the important stakeholders, because they have invested money by virtue of paying fees for their wards or children. They have invested money, so they are one of the important they become one of the important stakeholders. May not be direct stakeholder in the case, just was in the case of students, faculty members, and staff members, but they are indirect stakeholders, important one though. Then employers, professional bodies, industry, they're all stakeholders. The graduates, they have to be employed by the industry. The professional bodies, for the furtherance of their profession, they are looking at their members, so which are to be generated and produced by the educational institutions. Likewise, employers may be in a business setup, they may be the industrial employers, and so forth. Then management of the institution, that is an important stakeholder. The government at large, who is providing the funding, who is providing the facility, who may have provided the land, and so on. And then society also is an important stakeholder, because as I said yesterday, and I left you with the question, why Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley, you see, society, we owe a lot to the society, because we have certain responsibilities and certain sensitivities that we have to honor when it comes to society and when it comes to us being the educated individuals. Last but not the least, the alumni and the alumnae. They are one of such stakeholders who may have all these hats or many of these hats at the same time. Somebody who may have graduated with a bachelor's degree but a student in master's, so he or she is alumnus as well as student simultaneously. Some alumni after graduating may have become faculty members. Some of them may be other staff members. Now, these alumni might be sending their kids to the educational institutions. So they are parents as well as alumni. They may be, and it's very likely that they will be employers, professional bodies, industry, management, government, society. So alumni are all over. They are everywhere. Har jagah alumni honge. So that way, alumni are one of the most delicate, I would say, delicate stakeholder of an academic institution. Now, when you talk about the Aligarh Muslim University, which is conducting this program and to which I belong, we are proudly having a very rich legacy of our alumni database. Our founder was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. And then there is always this very pleasant issue of seniority happening. So let me narrate a lighter incident here, an anecdote, which is in a lighter vein. जब कभी दो Alligarians मिलते हैं, the alumni of AMU, we call them Alligarians. जब कभी दो Alligarians मिलते हैं तो ये इशू होता है, भाई मैं सीनियर हूँ, वो कहते हैं मैं सीनियर हूँ. You know, one such debate ensued. तो एक ने कहा कि मैं तो आपसे सीनियर हूँ. उन्होंने कहा अच्छा, आप अपने सीनियर का नाम लेकर कहा आप उनके बैच के हैं. उन्होंने कहा नहीं मैं तो और सीनियर हूँ. तो he came up with the name of yet another senior. He said, you must be from the batch of Mr. Such and Such. He said, no, 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 I'm more senior. He named a super senior. He said, okay, so you must be from the batch of that senior. Now again, this guy said, no, 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 I'm more senior. So this one who was asking, he got pissed off. He said, अरे क्या तुम सर सैयद अहमद खान से भी सीनियर हो क्या? Are you senior than even the founder or what? You're saying that I'm senior, more senior, more senior, more senior. So that, issue of seniority, that becomes something of a very funny nature whenever the alumni they meet. Proudly, the Aligarh Muslim University have produced 2 Bharat Ratna awardees, the highest civilian award we all know. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he was our alumnus, the Frontier Gandhi as he was called, and Dr. Zakir Hussain, who was our alumnus. He became the Vice Chancellor of the Aligarh Muslim University and then became the President of India. So they were the alumni of the Aligarh Muslim University. Besides that, we have produced from our university 8 Padma Vibhushan, 27 Padma Bhushan, and more than 36 Padma Shri awardees from the alumni base of our university. So that way we have a rich legacy to live up to. In fact, one of our alumna, Dr. Samina Salim, who is based in Houston, she has written a book on all these national awardees and their brief life sketch and how did they achieve that, those awards. She has written that book. It is worth going through that book. Now with that, let me go on to some very abstract questions. Why alumni? Number one, they are the greatest test to the strength of the colleges or the institutes or the universities program. They have that emotional attachment to the college. So not only they are the strength of the university, because better the alumni, better will be the perception of the institution, and vice versa. Better the perception of the institution, higher will be the caliber of the alumni or the recognizability of the alumni. Now these alumni, they have the emotional attachment to the college because they have spent the good youthful years of life over there. They have the experience of industry and outside world. So this experience cannot be gained from a book. They have earned it the hard way. So that way they become very, very worthy. They have a better understanding of colleges' needs and requirements. They have the ability to act as a bridge between institute and industry. We always keep crying hoarse over the weaker institute-industry interaction in our country. In the developed countries, they have a very strong bond between the institute and the industry. A lot of industrial projects, they are run by the institutes. And a lot of institute research that goes directly into the industry. So, but we have this huge gap between the institute and industry in our country. So the alumni can act as a bridge because they have graduated from an educational institution and they are employed in the industry. So they recognize the needs of both these entities. Every great university has a strong, well-connected alumni network. So in fact, the stature of a university may be gauged by the strength of its alumni base. That is one of the measures by which you can find out the stature of a university. Why should the alumni come forward? Number one, tracing of old friends and fellow alumni. We always are desirous of that I should be able to get hold of my class fellows. I should be able to get hold of my hostel fellows. I should get hold of the person who used to study with me in the library, even though he was from a different subject, and so forth. To replicate the support which was provided to them when they were students. As students, all of us are looking forward to scholarships, to awards, to merit recognition, and so forth. Even for higher studies, we look up to the alumni. So now, as alumni, we have to look back at our institution and try to fulfill the needs of these students, current crop of students. By helping the institution become bigger, stronger, and more successful, alumni are also enhancing the value of their own degree qualification. So that way, it is a mutually rewarding exercise or mutually rewarding experience. Higher the university, better the alumni. Better the alumni, higher the university. So it is mutually rewarding exercise. The Aligarh Muslim University is not just an institution, it is a mission as seen by our alumni. So every alumnus of every educational institution should look at her or his alma mater as a mission rather than just an institution. Institutions may open and close, but a mission continues forever. When, as far as alumni are there, the mission should continue. Now, what makes a college better? We have to have a very good curriculum. We have to have good crop of students being admitted. We have to have good faculty. We have to have good research being produced. We have to have a good infrastructure. Now, in this wheel, the alumni, they occupy the central position because they contribute everywhere. They contribute in coming up with a strong curriculum. They help us in getting good students. The alumni, they help us in getting good faculty members by becoming faculty members themselves or attracting good individuals or professionals into the teaching position of our institutions. Then alumni can contribute to research happening in the institution and the industry. I'll talk about it a little later. And then they can contribute to infrastructure. I'll talk about that also. Infrastructure could be in so many senses, the building or the equipment and so forth. Now, what can be the role of alumni? As I said, alumni or alumni, as I said, they have to play a very central role. In this exercise, in this diagram, I have shown that they have to play a very central role. So let us see. First and the foremost, building the reputation of the college. The problem I'll cite from my own university. Unfortunately, the Aligarh Muslim University has always been at the receiving end from the media. Many small incidents of the university are blown out of proportion. This may be because of the political repercussions. So I'm not debating that, but the reality or the fact remains. Now it creates a very bad illusion and reputation in public opinion, which needs to be countered for the sake of truth and correctness. We don't want any, any such publicity which we do not deserve. But at least the truth and the correctness should prevail. That is what we want. And also geographically, the location of Aligarh isn't very good in terms of reach. We are close to Delhi, but still the approach to Delhi may not be easy. And a lot of problems because of this locational disadvantage occurs with us. In fact, I draw the parallel. I have been the alumnus of IIT Kanpur as well as IIT Delhi. So even though academically IIT Kanpur I found to be better than IIT Delhi, I've been the alumnus of both the places. So I can say academically IIT Kanpur may be better, but IIT Delhi enjoys the locational advantage. Being in the capital of the country, they have got better exposure. They have got a better connect to the government, to the industry, to the people who matter. Whereas IIT Kanpur, being isolated, doesn't enjoy that locational advantage. They are on a locational disadvantage. Likewise, Aligarh has somewhat locational disadvantage in that sense. The effect of such problems, the companies become uninterested in our students. When the perception goes down, the companies may not be willing to come. Also because of the location, the companies, they prefer picking up employees from Delhi rather than flying to Delhi and then taking another road or train journey to Aligarh. And because of that, we get undervalued ratings and rankings. Every rating and ranking that brings perception into play may be of a lesser value, but still perception plays a role. Many good students may opt for other colleges. It has been happening that previously the students used to come to Aligarh, but now better colleges may have come in Delhi, so they prefer to go to Delhi rather than coming to Aligarh. So we are losing that good crop of students. That is the effect. Now, what could be the alumni's role for these problems? Alumni are the international ambassadors of their universities. They take the knowledge of institute to their hometowns and countries and into their professional and social networks. You may have seen the auto rickshaw, the taxis, they have the advertisement at the back of their vehicle. What is the point? The point is that they become the walking advertisement. जहां कहीं वो ऑटो रिक्शा जाएगा, जहां टैक्सी जाएगी, वो एडवर्टाइजमेंट पहुंचेगा. It is not static. It is not at one place. It keeps moving. Likewise, the alumni, they are the moving advertisement for us. They keep going to places and they keep carrying the name of their alma mater to all the different parts of the world. Internal areas, interior areas like their villages, the remote villages even, and to some of the most developed parts of the world. So alumni can use their position and stature in building the reputation of the college and university. They can, suppose an alumnus reaches to a great height, suppose our university produces an Olympic gold medalist, obviously the name of the university will also shine. If we produce a Nobel laureate from our university, the name of the university will also shine with him or her. So any accomplishment, any worthwhile accomplishment done by the alumni, that will bring good name to the university also. The alumni, they generate invaluable word of mouth marketing among their social and professional networks. आपको एडवर्टाइजमेंट बनाइए, आप जो कुछ उसमें लिखेंगे होर्डिंग में या हैंड आउट में, that stays put, वही रहेगी, वो चेंज नहीं होगी, स्टैटिक है. लेकिन alumni, they have that word of mouth marketing which is dynamic, which keeps changing. In their village, if they are talking, they'll be talking about the greatness of the university in other senses, using other words. और किसी developed country में बात करेंगे तो they will be talking at a much higher level. तो जिस तरह के लोगों से वो मिलेंगे उस तरह की बात कर पाएंगे अपना alma mater के बारे में. So word of mouth marketing in that sense is very important, and alumni can do it for us. Alumni can bring more companies for recruitment by convincing them through their positions. Locational disadvantage hai, but the alumni can play their role. They can put their foot down that, look, this is my alma mater. If I could rise to be the manager of this company, why don't you expect other people also from that university to become managers, managing directors, executive members, and so forth? So they can use their position to convince their companies to come to the campus. The second role that the alumni can play, and I wanted to elaborate, and that is one of the points that I left then, is helping in research. The quantity and quality of research can be increased by aiding the institute with state-of-the-art modern laboratory equipment. That is the first thing that they can do. And many alumni have done it. In our university and other universities also, they provide the laboratory equipment. That, look, even the retired equipment in their industry may be good enough for our students to experiment upon. It has happened with us in the past. There is this company, Open Silicon, in the San Francisco Bay Area. So the founder is an alumnus of our university, 1987 batch, Tahir Madraswala. Probably later I made a mention of him also. So he helped establishing a VLSI lab in our university. And then the retired workstations from his company, that they were good enough for our students to be taught and to carry research upon. So alumni can contribute by sponsoring the research work of students. A positive environment can thus be created. These graduate students, they require petty amounts, small amounts for their research, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. They cannot afford on their own. The alumni can come forward. Look, I'll sponsor 5 BTech projects. I'll sponsor 8 MSW projects, social work projects, and so forth. So small contributions from alumni. There's a proverb, Qatra Qatra Darya Mishavat, drops by drop that makes the ocean. So the drops can keep trickling from the alumni, and that will be an ocean for our students to drink from, to gain from, to take from. It will also help in building the reputation of the college. So better the research, better will be the reputation. The students can be assisted in their research work by technical assistance from esteemed personalities having a good experience in research work. There may be established research stalwarts in other universities or research institutions. So they can directly supervise our students, guide them in order to have a better research. Third, helping in collaboration. Collaboration is very important. A number of companies carry on their research work in collaboration with universities and colleges. Alumni can use their position to have such collaborated work done with the students and faculties of the university, because they are sitting on the other side of the table, so they can get their companies or industries stretch the hands to the university or the institutions to collaborate with them. The alumni are often in the position to engage the expertise of the institution in their professional lives. So the institution, they have 60 students in a class, free manpower of 60 students is available. They are just looking for some industry experience. They're not expecting any money. The alumni can come forward, harness that expertise of those students or even the faculty members, and both of them will get mutually rewarded for that. Alumni can help in signing of the MOUs between university and other institutes. These other institutes could be universities in themselves, or the industry, or the research organizations, and so on. So wherever they are, they can extend the hands to the universities to collaborate with them. Now, sharing their experience. These are all the roles of the alumni. So this is the fourth role, sharing their experience. Students can learn a lot from your experience and guidance. Their deeper knowledge about the requirement of industries can definitely help students while choosing their research and project work. So the alumni, they are working on live projects, what is happening in the industry. So likewise, they can guide the students by sharing their experience. A guideline about what to do and what not to do may illuminate them with a clear vision about their careers, about what not to do. This is also important. As teachers, we forget this responsibility. We just remember we have to tell our students what to do, and we do not tell them what not to do. Let me tell you an interesting anecdote here. Here is this famous English cricketer, Alex Stewart. He's retired now, Alex Stewart. So he writes in his autobiography, he writes, "I learned more from my defeats rather than from my victories." And very rightly said. When we are victorious, we get overjoyed. We overlook all our shortcomings because we have won anyway. It is when we get defeated that we sit down with our heads bowed down and we try to introspect. We try to find out, where have we gone wrong? What have we done wrong? And that is when the actual and the real learning happens. So what not to do is very important in that sense. So out of the failures, out of the several failures that those alumni may have experienced, they can share with the current crop so that they do not get onto that erroneous path or the path in which they might fail. Right? In this part of the country where we live, North India में fog बहुत होता है winters में. जो north में होंगे वो जानते होंगे. तो फॉग में कभी गाड़ी ड्राइव करनी होती है तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, किसी दूसरी गाड़ी के पीछे चलते हैं, so that whenever there is a ditch, there is a speed breaker or there is any obstacle, the car in the front will slow down and we will also slow down by looking at the braking lights. So इस तरह से अगर हम alumni को आगे रखें in the fog of this misty worldly life, then it becomes very easy for us to negotiate and maneuver the ditches and the speed breakers in our speedy life, right? So what not to do is very important to share with our future generations. The experience of the alumni can teach them a lot about how to achieve their goal with less difficulty. ये बहुत important है, achieve the goals with less difficulty. एक तो ये है कि पूरी जान लगाकर गोल अचीव किया, नहीं, with minimal effort. So that way we have to maximize the success and minimize the effort for that. So simultaneously we have to do that, right? Fifth thing could be mentoring. The establishment of a student alumni mentoring program can be one of the most effective roles of alumni. All top universities of the world have an excellent mentoring network. देखिए mentoring teacher to student mentoring भी होती है, but it is not that effective. Why? Because the teacher has to maintain a gap with the students also. If you don't maintain this gap, the students will become over friendly with you and they will try to exploit that closeness. Question bata dijiye, yeah, other kinds of favors they'll expect from the teacher. The alumni, they can get very friendly. They can become like fellow students and still a lot of experience to offer the mentoring help by. स्टूडेंट टू स्टूडेंट लर्निंग भी होती है, उसको पीयर लर्निंग कहते हैं. पीयर लर्निंग इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट, बट स्टूडेंट एलुमनाई लर्निंग, just mentoring learning, that is very helpful. It will lead to perfect utilization of alumni's skills, experience, and expertise. So you tie up like 5 students with one alumnus, one willing alumnus or alumna, right? So we need to streamline this. Mentoring कहीं पर वॉलंटरी है, कहीं पर जो है वो ऑफिशियल है, बट एवरीवेयर इट इज वेरी लूज. सो वी नीड टू सिस्टमटाइज इट. वी नीड टू properly make a system for the same in order to have an effective mentoring from the alumni to the students. Financial assistance, obviously things revolve about money, so we can look up to the alumni to help us financially as well. They are the most likely group to support as they have a sense of gratitude and want their institute to climb the ladders of success. One of the major hindrances in meeting the requirement of a top-class institution like AMU is its lower budget allocation. By low budget allocation, I mean the allocation is not up to the level that we want to have. We have sufficient budgets, but if it goes a little higher, we may prosper in research that much more. So this not only affects the infrastructure, but also the research and laboratory work of the college. So collective effort from the alumni can meet this challenge in very effective way. Again, the drop by drop, that will form the ocean. These drops can come from the alumni, right? So collective effort can meet this challenge in a very effective way. There are a number of ways in which financial assistance can be provided. Some of them are building infrastructure. The funds available to the institutions are not enough to meet the requirement of modern day infrastructure. बल्कि अब तो infrastructure के लिए everything has become loan based now. I'm not sure if you know this. There is an agency called HEFA, Higher Education Funding Agency. So any infrastructure proposal that goes to that agency and that is provided as a loan to the institution to pay back over 10 years from the revenue generated by the institution or the university. So the institute lacks modern updated labs, smart classrooms, and modern teaching tools because of the lack of the infrastructure. Maintenance grants are coming, but infrastructure grants have dried up. With the help of the alumni, these requirements can be met up to a great extent. So number one, financial help could be building infrastructure. Alumni can help by taking lead in infrastructure development of a particular field. Recently, the Alumni Association of North America in our university, they donated smart classrooms to the institution. More such efforts are, however, needed. So that is an example. Moreover, alumni can negotiate with third-party suppliers about cost and equipment. Again, this is very important. We are looking for any equipment, we are looking for the softwares. So the alumni can come forth and use their influence and tell them to cut down the cost for the educational institution, which happens to be the alma mater. And this happened in the case of VLSI Lab, as I was saying about Tahir Madraswala. In their company, Open Silicon, they buy software, the computer-aided design softwares for VLSI chips, worth $billions every year. So they said, look, we are giving you the business worth $billions. So why don't you work for us in terms of providing these softwares, the educational versions, at a minimum cost to our students? to the student of the, let's just go back. Yeah. Moreover, alumni can negotiate with third-party suppliers about cost equipment. Next, fundraising. Alumni are the brand ambassadors of their institution. They can organize various funds raising programs for the institute and university. In this second wave of the pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic, our alumni, they raised funds to the tune of 3.32 crores Indian rupees for establishing a pediatric ICU, for establishing oxygen plants, for having better ICU and life support systems and so forth. 3.32 crores. And they did it by fundraising. They contributed themselves, and then they reached out to the generous people, philanthropic people, and they contributed this money. They can also help by spotting and searching for people who can support the institution and help in maintaining good long-term relation with eminent business personalities. So that way it will be an ongoing effort and incoming on a regular basis, the help will keep coming. The third point that the alumni can help financially with is research and projects. Alumni can help in funding ongoing research projects in the institute, and by using their influence to negotiate with the third-party suppliers for getting cheaper equipments, inexpensive equipments. Alumni can play an influential role in helping the faculty and students back good research projects associated with the industries. So once that association is established, then not only funds will come, but also the industry experience will be gained. Arranging a scholarship for needy students. Alumni can help students who can't pursue their goals only because of financial limitation. There are a number of students who come from very poor background and they lack financial assistance to meet their daily requirement. A number of highly talented students don't go for costly courses only because of financial inability or difficulty. So alumni can step in and help. Whatever you want to study, you study, we'll take care of the fees for you. So that way they can go for the course of their liking regardless of the financial involvements there. Now, after this financial help, interacting with the students, alumni can take out some time from their work and interact with the students to understand their needs and give remarks. Alumni are great role models for current students and are often well placed to offer practical support to students as they start their careers. The alumni interaction with the students can raise their morale and make them more ambitious in their work. If a successful alumnus comes to the campus and just stands in front of the students without being required to speak even, he or she will become a good motivator. The students can look up to the alumni for that motivation. If they can become successful by being the students of this very university, why can't I be successful? And if those alumni, they speak out of the experience, that will be the cherry on the cake. That will be the icing on the cake. Promoting entrepreneurship by funding good business ideas. We talk a lot about Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, Digital India, and so forth. We need to push entrepreneurship, and the alumni can help us in doing so. Alumni in collaboration with the institution can organize various competitions on generating business ideas. Make those young minds of students think about the ideas that could be translated into entrepreneurial initiatives. Alumni can fund the students in developing their business model prototype. They have very good ideas. These young minds have very good ideas. They just need to prosper. They just need to, spread out. So if the alumni can provide little help, they can translate their business model into a prototype working. They can help in meeting students with angel investors who can fund the budding entrepreneurs during their initial stage. So if the alumni cannot help by themselves, they can introduce the students, the budding students, to the investors who can provide the help and let the entrepreneurial ideas flourish. With the expertise in financial assistance, they can help or can become partners in successful business ventures. Either they do it without having any stakes in it, or they can even talk to the students that, look, I'm funding these ideas, I'm helping you. If it becomes a success story, we'll have this much share, 40-60 split, 30-70 split, whatever. You talk to those students, then they'll readily agree. Alumni having their own business firms can help these students in setting up of their business model. You provide them some space and let them work around in the workshop available in your industry, and let them translate their ideas into reality. At the Aligarh Muslim University and our engineering college, we have an active entrepreneurship development cell, which has performed numerous activities in the last few years, primarily with the help of alumni. Our alumni have definitely come forward and helped us in flourishing that entrepreneurship development cell. Now, after talking about these abstract but useful ideas, let me go on to some issues with alumni. Dealing from an individual level to associations or even federations. So you have to work from a micro level to a macro level to a global level even. You have to treat each and every individual alumnus or alumna with due respect. Then there could be associations of alumni. In every city, major city, there may be an association. And then somewhere like North America, they have several such associations combined into a federation, where these federations are usually moneyless and toothless, but they enjoy a lot of respect because they are the umbrella organization of different alumni associations. So they may not help you directly, but you still have to respect them that much more. Now, how to recognize and control the associations? The associations could be a few alumni or alumni to a huge sized associations. In some smaller places, you may be having just 6 alumnus, 6 alumni or alumni, or 5 or 10. And in some metropolitan area like Delhi, you may be having thousands of alumni in the associations. So you have to deal with all of them. Please mute yourself. Somebody has got unmuted. Please mute yourself. Yes. So you have to deal with all the different sizes. You cannot have one size fit all approach. You have to deal them separately and you have to give them due respect. You cannot ignore the association with 10 alumni because they'll bring a lot of disrepute to you if you do that. Now, registration of alumni associations, that becomes even more tricky. As soon as the alumni associations, they get registered, they think that they are holier than thou. They think that they are better than even the alma mater themselves. In fact, it has happened with us. Whenever we were trying to hold an alumni meet, one of our registered alumni associations, they came forward and they said, how dare you organize the alumni meet without our consent? Or how dare you do it without asking us to collaborate or to co-organize? We have to be the co-host. This is the alumni meet. We are the registered body. So whether to get them registered or not, that becomes tricky. If you get them registered, they think they are over the sky. And if you don't get them registered, they don't have the power to. These are things I'm discussing. How to solve them, that all of us have to ponder and think and decide about the location, taking the location in which we are situated into account. Another issue could be multiple associations in one place. And this issue is particularly there in Gulf-based associations. Because in the entire Gulf area, there are no elections. We all know. There is monarchy or emirate or whatever you say. So they highly discourage elections. Because if they encourage elections, their own throne will be jeopardized. So they discourage elections everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. So not even the alumni associations can have elections. If you don't have elections, there will be self-declared presidents, treasurers, secretaries, and one place may have several associations. So Multiple associations may be there for more chair positions. If you have just one association, 3 people could be chairholders, presidents, treasurer, secretary, or at most 4 vice president. But if there are 8 people willing to occupy chairs, the 4 people who do not get a chance, they start a new association in the same place. So that becomes very tricky. Should we put certain distance criteria? Because in the most developed country like United States, we had this problem where even elections were being held. They said, okay, fine, there is an alumni association in Washington, D.C., and the adjacent is Baltimore, Maryland. So we'll have another association in Maryland, although they are adjacent to each other. So we have to think of the distance criteria that 2 associations have to be this much far away, like 50 miles or so. Now, should it be 50 miles or should it be 100 miles or should it be 60 miles? That becomes again tricky. Our position as the university is that we give them full freedom. एक association banao, 2 banao, 10 banao. We are going to recognize as many as are out there because we think the more the merrier. If there are more associations, okay, 5 of them may be dead, but at least 5 of them will work because they have to prove their establishment. So the more the merrier is our approach. Recognize as many as are out there, regardless of the distance criteria, regardless of them being at the same place, regardless of the chair positions. Now, in order to control the alumni affairs or manage the alumni affairs, we have several committees. One of them is the Alumni Affairs Committee. The Vice Chancellor is the patron and Pro Vice Chancellor is the co-patron. And then there is the chairman of the Alumni Affairs Committee, which are in our university. I have been the chairman of Alumni Affairs Committee for the last 3 years. So that is why I'm speaking out of my experience of the last 3 years that I've been occupying this chair. And then you have the vice chairman and other members as the faculty members of the university who are forming this Alumni Affairs Committee. So ये तो हमारी internal university की committee हुई, Alumni Affairs Committee. And then we have International Advisory Committee, taking into account roping in the experienced alumni from all over the globe. And then we have National Advisory Committee at the country level, at our country, India level. And we try to take in senior, active and contributing alumni or alumni to these advisory committees, to these 2 advisory committees. They may not necessarily be the association chairholders. It would have been very easy that all the associations, their presidents, their treasurer, their secretaries will be the advisory committees, will be on the advisory committee. We said no. Because all the alumni associations may not be effective. All their shareholders may not be very useful. So it is the choice of the Vice Chancellor to appoint people on these advisory committees. They are not ex officio members that way. They may be presidents also, but we can have somebody who is not a president, but very active and contributing to the university. So we'll put them on the advisory committee because we want the most from these advisory committees. We have the role and the charter of the Alumni Affairs Committee worked out. The role is to act as effective interface between the alumni and AMU. When I say AMU, it means Aligarh Muslim University, so as to optimize the potential of the Aligarh fraternity as a key stakeholder in the future growth of the alma mater. Aligharian or Aligarh is the acronym that we use for the Aligarh alumni, AMU alumni. Right? So this is the role. Then charter is strengthen alumni alma mater bondage, support alumni-driven initiatives, facilitate student scholarships or sponsorships, facilitate MOUs and collaborations with overseas institutions. So now you see all those things that I've discussed before, they are falling in place now. They are being formalized now. Facilitate Aligarh academic enrichment program. I'll talk about it a little later. Maintain alumni website and alumni data. Monitor ongoing projects and provide timely feedback. Coordinate the visits of alumni to the AMU, organize alumni meets, and facilitate other alumni-related programs. So this is the charter of Alumni Affairs Committee. Duties of the chairman of AAC is also properly defined. This chairman will be in charge of the office of the Alumni Affairs Committee and look after the day-to-day work of the committee. He will formulate plans for approval of the committee and perform all other activities to further strengthen the bond between the university and the alumni. He will be the convener and maintain all records related to the Alumni Affairs Committee, perform all other functions which may be delegated to him by the Vice Chancellor. So this is the duty chart for the Chairman of Alumni Affairs Committee. Duties of Vice Chairman of Alumni Affairs Committee will assist the Chairman and perform such other duties as assigned to him by the Chairman. So Vice Chairman will report to the Chairman will report to the Vice Chancellor. And the Vice Chairman will also look after the work of the Chairman in his absence. If he goes on any kind of leave, academic or otherwise, so Vice Chairman will look into it. Now, connecting with alumni is also very important. Somebody has become unmuted, please mute yourself. So a very good project that we have done over the last couple of years is to come up with the World Alumni Directory. There were several issues with contact details. People, they had the apprehension and they still complain that we get unsolicited calls, spam emails in sensitive areas, countries of the alumni. From North Korea, they said that our information has been shared. So people are sending us emails and each and every email is being looked into with suspicion over here. Calls, emails for political purposes. So there were the issues with contact details. But we said that, look, you get unsolicited calls even when the alumni directory is not there. You get spam, so many spam emails every day, right? Similarly, in sensitive areas also you can get emails. तो जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, जुओं के डर से कपड़ा ना पहनना, ये कोई अकलमंदी नहीं है. We shouldn't be scared of the insects and not putting clothes on, right? So we said, no, we'll go ahead. What we did, when we collected their details, after that we sent email to each and every one of them, asking them if we could include their data. Those from them who said that no, do not share our cell number, we did not publish it in the directory. Those who said do not publish our email even, so we did not include their email there. But rest of the people, they are shown in the alumni directory. Now, how to gather this alumni data? We use Google Form because that was the easiest way to do. But many people were apprehensive. They said, we are not going to share data through Google Form. So we said, okay, we have form a template. So you send it in the MS Word attachment by filling the data in that template. We also have website forms designed in order to gather the data about the alumni. So next I'll show you. This is the template, the MS Word template, what all information we gathered. The email, the enrollment number, which is the unique ID for any alumnus, Professor, Dr., Mr., Mrs., so on, name, their gender, highest qualification from AMU, last hall of residence attended, which faculty were they studying in, year of joining in AMU, year of leaving from AMU, current country, current city, current designation, current company, permanent address, and mobile number. So over here you see mobile number is not obligatory. Some people may have skipped it, but rest of the information we gathered from them, and a beautiful alumni directory has come out. This is the cover of it, 2020 alumni directory, Alumni Affairs Committee, Aligarh Muslim University. And this is the cover. We have gathered some 12,000 alumni, 12,000 plus alumni. So it is running into some 1,500 pages, right? So online platforms for Alumni Connect. This is the Alumni Directory, publishing Alumni Directory. It is available in the soft form on the AMU database, AMU website also. So if you want to go through it, you may try to locate the alumni link, and there you will get the Alumni Directory. There are online platforms for Alumni Connect. For a good amount of time, we have amudirectory.com, in which we could search the people class-wise, like BTech 1992, if I'm looking for my classmates. So all people who graduated with BTech in 1992 will pop up. All those who studied or who resided in, say, Sir Shah Suleiman Hall of Residence. So everybody. Location wise, who all are residing in Paris, so everybody came. Likewise, native place, who all are from, say, Bahraich, so all such people. So that was a very useful site, but it has the technology became outdated. So we look for some commercial ones also that are available, like Alma Shines. We keep getting mails for that, but we thought to make our own tailor made, and that is aliconnect.com. You may have a look at it. There is also a YouTube video, a promotional video of aliconnect.com, so you can look at that, because aliconnect.com you may not go into unless you are registered, and for registration you have to be an alumnus. So we have developed a website with the help of our alumni, of course. We have the iOS and Android apps also made for aliconnect.com. So that becomes a dynamic platform. The directory gets published once and forever. Suppose tomorrow they change the company, so the change will not reflect in the published form. But in the online platform, they can make changes as and when they happen. So this will be very updated and very up-to-date information. Now, another issue could be alumni meets. We do celebrate Founders Day on 17th of October. And the most enticing thing about our Founders Day is the dinner that day. This is called Sarsaiyat dinner. Many people, they complain that the alumni, they're just about eating that dinner and going back home. Should that be all? No, obviously no. But then we should not leave these dinners either. If we leave out these dinners, even contributory dinners, they are contributory dinners. So let it go on. Maybe this year, next to next year, people will start thinking about the alma mater also. In the beginning, they might come just for rejoice, but later they'll start thinking seriously for the institution and the alma mater also. A tricky issue was, should the alumni meet be adjacent to the Founders Day or should it be separate? Many people were saying that it should be adjacent to the Founders Day, so that when we come to the campus, then we attend the Founders Day also. Some of them, they said, let it be spaced, because we want to celebrate the Founders Day in our area where we live, and then we want to attend the alumni meet. The university also thought about it, and they said that our guest houses, they get heavily loaded if both these major functions are next to each other. If they are spaced apart, the load on the guest houses, that decreases. So we do the university level alumni meet once every year. Last year we could not do, so that we made up by organizing an alumni meet at the beginning of this year in the online mode, and we had some very good participation in the online mode, right? So that made up for the pandemic year 2020. In fact, 2020 was our centenary year. We became a university in 1920. So we have completed 100 years as the university last year. As the educational institution, we started in 1875 as the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. But we became a university in 1920. So we wanted to organize a huge centenary celebration, but the pandemic didn't let us do. We are waiting for an opportune time, and we will do the belated centenary celebration soon. So faculty or department level alumni meets are being organized in addition to the university level one. And a very good thing that we have found out is that whenever a faculty or a department organizes a conference, many of our alumni, they come to the conference because they are the graduates of that very department. So why not hold an alumni meet on the last day? And then we also have jubilees like Silver Jubilee, Golden Jubilee. We even have Golden Jubilee. And it was so refreshing to see all those old alumni coming to the campus and rejuvenating their energies and becoming like younger kids, running around. Let me tell you, 70, 75 years old, running around in the campus, laughing, cracking jokes. The 1968 batch, when they organized the Golden Jubilee, in their batch of engineering, they have just one girl there. When they came for the Golden Jubilee, that lady also came. So believe me, all the alumni, they were, circling around that lady, even though 50 years had lapsed. So, they live all those years. They relive all those years. So when we organized the Alumni Meet 2018, there was the formal inaugural session in the day. So I'm just touching upon the organizational structure. Afternoon session, we sent the alumni and their respective faculty, where a presentation on the progress of the faculty was made by the dean of the faculty. The alumni, they interacted with the students. They interacted with senior and retired teachers. Discussions on the interesting anecdotes from their times happened, which obviously brought a lot of interest into the discussions. We also got the syllabus revised with the help of those alumni because they gave some very experienced inputs. We collected their feedbacks when they were there in the faculty. And we also charted out the future plans and the role of alumni. So a very, very useful afternoon session we have in Alumni Meet 2018. In 2019, we thought it to be an alumni conclave, in which the theme was roadmap to centenary celebrations. How should we organize, or how should we celebrate the centenary year 2020? We started planning about it in 2019 itself. It just happened that the pandemic broke and we could not do it, but we had the plans in place. So in this conclave, we did the invitations only. Previously, in 2018, we invited everyone, but we kept the registration fees. Many people were saying, and they were of the idea that why registration fees when you are inviting the alumni? We thought about it, and then we said, look, alumni, for them, it is the payback time. So it shouldn't be much if they are asked to pay the registration fees. That will filter out only the serious alumni to join the alumni meet. If we keep it for free, then the alumni, we have some 10,000 alumni within the city of Aligarh. So all of them will flock, and none of them will be seriously, very few of them will be seriously contributing. So we did keep our registration fees for 2018. That was nominal, 2,500 rupees if you are an individual, and 5,000 rupees if you are coming with your family. Very, very nominal. In 2019 Alumni Conclave, we said no registration fees, but we will invite people because we wanted to have serious discussion. And the theme was very focused, roadmap to centenary celebrations. So we invited 2 office bearers from each of the alumni associations from across the world. Participation was by invitation. There was no registration fees. We provided the local hospitality. We do provide local hospitality. After having charged the registration fees in 2018, we provided them with accommodation, food, everything, and local conveyance. The travel expenses were borne by the concerned person or associations. Obviously, we cannot pay the TAD of all the alumni coming to us. So that has to be borne by them. So that was about Alumni Conclave. Now, some good practices from other institutions, let me talk about, so that you do not think that I'm talking just about the Aligarh Muslim University. IIT Kanpur keeps sending emails, and through those emails, they try to find out all the missing alumni. Like they keep sending emails to me because I'm their alumnus, and they keep asking, Mr. Such and such, who was your classmate, are you in touch? Can you share his details with us? So all such lost alumni, they keep a track of them. IIT Delhi issues an I-card to every alumni. So we have the alumni I-card, which can be used for their library, for the sports facilities, and so on. Recently, they have given a lifelong email address, mmsbeg@alumni.iitd.ac.in. So this will stay for me for all times to come. University of California, Berkeley, where I have been a postdoc, that supports my email address even today, even though I left them some 16 years back. But still the email address is still. Please mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted. Somebody is unmute. Please mute yourself. Okay. So UC Berkeley, their I-card continues to be valid for the campus bus. Whenever I go to Berkeley, I can take a free ride on the campus bus by flashing the iCard from those times. There is this famous Berkeley Tower. They charge nominal $2 to go at the top of the Berkeley Tower. But if I have that iCard, they allow me for free. Little things. But that shows the attachment with your alma mater. $2 means nothing to the alumni. But then it shows the care. It shows that they care for their alumni. This is the email which shows that they are giving me, IIT Delhi is giving me a lifelong email address. You need not read it. IIT Kanpur, every year, even this year it happened. This I have quoted from 2020. Even this year, they send out birthday wishes. They have in their database my date of birth. So they send out an automatic email from the director to the alumni. On behalf of your alma mater, I take this opportunity to wish you a very happy birthday and many more such birthdays to come. Shows they care for us, although it may be automated, but still, they care for us. Now, alumni feedback, as I've been emphasizing from yesterday, even the outcome-based education, this is for correction, for improvement, for self-correction, for self-improvement, and also for accreditation. ABET, NAC, NBA, everywhere, the alumni feedback is very important. For outcome-based education, as I talked yesterday. So this is the connecting point from my yesterday's lecture. Senior alumni for program educational objectives and all alumni for program outcomes. Because outcome is present and program educational objectives is futuristic. So we're looking for experienced alumni to provide the feedback on PEO and all the alumni on PO. Remember this diagram, which we discussed in detail yesterday? Today I just want to emphasize that alumni survey everywhere. Alumni survey is very important component of the indirect part of the assessment. I'm not repeating the entire explanation. We have done it yesterday. I just wanted to show alumni all over. Now, Children of Alumni Bonding Program. This is another initiative that we have taken. The alumni or the alumni have the emotional connect lifelong with the alma mater. We need to keep their children also attached. The alumni are better off than their parents, so they can afford to send their children at better places abroad. So the alumni, they are not sending their children to us to study, even though they are the alumnus of this, they are the alumni of this place, because they want to change for wider exposure. But we do want their children to be attached to us. So for language proficiency, for cultural heritage, for community work, we can invite their children to attend our campus for a few days, right? So we have come up with the Kashish program, in which Dr. Faiza Abbasi, the coordinator for your program, she is also on the board. So this is flexible in duration. We have named it as Kashish, Children Bondage Program at Kashish, which is an Urdu word which means attraction. So this is flexible in duration, timing, and curriculum. No credits as such, no tuition fees, only the boarding lodging charges. We provide them sports and cultural activities. They have a chance to look at the residential life of the university. They can attend the library. They can go to labs, attend classes of their choice. We assign mentors to each such child visiting the campus, and we issue the certificate in the end, right? This is the flyer for this Kashish bonding program for children of alumni. Over there, we do Sir Syed mission awareness, residential life in AMU Hall, Urdu proficiency classes, literary and cultural activities, games and sports, volunteer for community work, where we go for drama, debate, Baitbazi, Mushaira, film club, Lit Fest, Eco Club. We have a very rich film club. Some of you might be knowing some very good film stars or actors have been produced by us. Surekha Sikri, who passed away recently, she was an alumna from Aligarh Muslim University, and also Nasiruddin Shah, and many of them, right? Anubhav Sinha, they're all our alumni. Literary festival, Eco Club, riding. This is our heritage. We have 125 years old riding club in our university. and our students compete at the National Equestrian Championship with the defense personnel. So this is probably no other university has the riding club. Swimming, hall week, robo club, incubation centers, service and adopted villages, it should be adopted, urban and rural health area centers, tree plantation, and a lot more. So flexibility to choose 1 to 8 week course in faculty of relevant subject. So this is the alumnus or the alumna and bringing their children back to the alma mater to give them a feel of our culture. And then a League Academic Enrichment Program, I talked about it in the beginning. It was started by Canada alumnus as the summer university. Mr. Asad, late Mr. Asad, he used to come on his own expenses. He used to stay here for 2 months on his own expenses and used to teach the students the subject that he was an expert of. This was at no cost to the university. So we extended it. Whenever an alumnus is coming home, they can have the interaction with the students on the subject, or just for motivation or counseling or career guidance, or just for the exposure or experience sharing. We can have online sessions too, and we had been having during the pandemic, but obviously we prefer face-to-face. Online we can have multitude of them, but face-to-face is what we prefer under the League Academic Enrichment Program. Then alumni guest house. Guest houses have a priority for conference delegates, official guests, or university engagements. The alumni, they're not able to find accommodation at their convenience. So we ask the alumni that, okay, you build a guest house. By your contribution, an individual or alumni association can contribute. We can name the rooms after the contributor. They have a priority in reservation. If that contributor comes, he or she will definitely get a room in that guest house. When they're not coming, we can use it for our conferences or other university engagements too. We can have the interiors according to their taste. For example, San Francisco Association, if they are contributing, they can design it according to their interiors and so forth. So this is the alumni guest house plan that we have, right? It is being worked upon. Now, the last point that I wish to discuss is the Alumni Endowment Fund. And this stems from the Government of India initiatives. They wrote to all the vice chancellors with a reference to the Honorable President has desired that every centrally funded higher educational institution should be encouraged to set up Alumni Endowment Fund on the lines of IIT Delhi. IIT Delhi has already done it. So all of us are doing it now. What is endowment fund? An endowment is a donation of money or property to a non-profit organization which uses the resulting investment income for a specific purpose. So it is like a corpus. Most endowments are designed to keep the principal amount intact while using the investment income for charitable efforts. Endowments tend to be organized as a trust, a private foundation, or a public charity. So we have to establish such alumni endowment fund everywhere. There are 4 endowment types. Unrestricted endowments are assets that can be spent, saved, invested, and distributed at the discretion of the institution receiving the gift. This is unrestricted endowments. Term endowments usually stipulate that only after a period of time or a certain event can the principal be expended. A quasi-endowment is a donation by an individual or institution given with the intent of having that fund serve a specific purpose. किसी ने एंडाउमेंट सेटअप किया, कहा इसकी इनकम को स्कॉलरशिप में दिया जाए, किसी ने दिया, कहा इससे इक्विपमेंट खरीदी जाए, and so on. The principal is typically retained while the earnings are expended or distributed as per the specifications of the donor. Then restricted endowments have their principal held in perpetuity while the earnings from the invested assets are expended as per the donor's specifications. तो ये 4 तरह के endowments होते हैं. We can have any of those 4 endowments, but we do have to set up, it helps if we set up the alumni endowment funds. Real world examples of endowments, mind-boggling, you will see. According to US News and World Report, the top 5 universities by endowment size at the end of the fiscal year 2017 were Harvard University, $37 billion. Yale University, $27 billion. Stanford, $24 billion. Princeton, $23 billion. And MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, $14 billion. So mind-boggling endowments these world-renowned universities has. So what are the future plans? First thing that we are pondering upon is whether there should be a membership fee. Should it be just the initial membership fees, or should it be on an annual basis and then use it? But if we are keeping the annual fee, the question is, what returns are we going to provide to the alumni? Are we going to provide the library? Are we going to keep the sports facilities open for them? And what all we have, we can provide. Obviously, because of this membership fee, they do not become a student. They have to have some alumni privileges only. The projects, action plans, progress updation should happen regularly. Alumni achievements and offers, they must be highlighted. But again, the tricky part is what to include and what to leave out. The alumni, they want to have a space on anything and everything that they do. We'll have to draw the line. What all we are going to include and what all we cannot include, right? And we want to get the stronger network of alumni. Even though we have come up with the World Alumni Directory, the Ali Connect app, we want to grow it, because according to our estimate, we have around 2 lakh surviving alumni from our university at least. We have to bring out a regular newsletter for the alumni. We need to have more endowments from the alumni. And also we are pondering over the Distinguished Alumni Awards being given. In fact, IITs, they are giving out Distinguished Alumni Awards, but then they are the focused institutions, technical institutions. Our university is a multidisciplinary one. So how can we compare an alumnus of social work with an alumnus of medicine, or the alumnus of law with the alumnus of engineering? So we still have to work upon this. Okay, again, thank you very much for your attention. So I'll stop now.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll take questions. Any questions from yesterday or today?
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. जी.
सर, एलुमनाई रिलेशन के ताल्लुक से बेहद ख्याल अफरोज और मालूमाती गुफ्तगू से हम सब मुस्तफीज हुए, इसके लिए सर बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। बेसिकली मेरा क्वेश्चन नहीं है, ये एक छोटी सी बात है जो मैं आपसे पेश करना चाहता हूँ।
जी।
अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी के मुतादिद एलुमनाई हैं जिन्हें मुतादिद अवार्ड से नवाजा गया।
जी।
उनमें से कुछ का जिक्र आपने किया।
जी।
लिटरेचर से भी कुछ बड़े नाम हैं सर, मैं जिनका यहाँ पे कुछ नाम का जिक्र करना चाहूँगा।
जी जी।
उर्दू के मारूफ पोएट और स्क्रीन राइटर अली सरदार जाफरी, जिन्हें पद्म श्री के अलावा हाईएस्ट लिटरेरी अवार्ड ऑफ इंडिया ज्ञानपीठ अवार्ड से नवाजा गया सर।
जी जी जी।
दूसरा जो बड़ा नाम है शहरयार, उनको भी कई अवार्ड दिए गए, जिनमें से हाईएस्ट लिटरेरी अवार्ड ऑफ इंडिया ज्ञानपीठ अवार्ड से उनको भी नवाजा गया।
जी जी जी।
जावेद अख्तर हैं जिनको पद्म श्री, पद्म भूषण के अलावा नेशनल फिल्म अवार्ड 5 मरतबा उनको नेशनल फिल्म अवार्ड से नवाजा गया।
जी जी जी।
इसके अलावा खलील रहमान आजमी, मोइन हसन जज्बी, आले अहमद सुरूर, कई नाम हैं जिनका सबका ताल्लुक अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी है और हिंदुस्तान के बड़े एजाज से नवाजा गया है सर।
जी जी जी।
तो ये खास वो है जिनका बराह रास्त उर्दू जबान से, उर्दू शायरी से ताल्लुक है और इन्होंने भी अपनी सतह पे मुल्क का नाम काफी रोशन किया है। तो मुझे लगा कि सर इनका भी जिक्र यहाँ पे होना चाहिए।
नहीं, बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। टाइम कम था और मैं आपसे अर्ज करूँ, ये डॉक्टर समीना सालिम जिनकी किताब का मैंने तस्करा किया, मैंने उनसे रिक्वेस्ट की है कि वो अपनी किताब का 2nd वॉल्यूम निकालें, जिसमें जैसे आपने लिटरेरी अवार्ड्स की बात की ना, ऐसी हमारे यहाँ के बहुत सारे शांति स्वरूप भटनागर अवार्डी भी हैं जो साइंस में बहुत आला अवार्ड माना जाता है।
जी,
तस्करा है और इस तरह के जितने भी वर्थवाइल हैं, और सिर्फ इंडिया के नहीं, फिर बाहर बहुत सारे लोग अवार्डेड हैं हमारे यहाँ के, बाहर के मुल्कों में, वहाँ के उनको, जैसे अभी हमारा इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज का आमिर कुतुब है, उसको यंगेस्ट एंटरप्रेन्योर ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया का अवार्ड मिला है, यंगेस्ट और एंटरप्रेन्योर ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया। तो इस तरह के बहुत से अवार्ड्स हैं जिनका तस्करा होना चाहिए। इस पर जाहिर टाइम कम था तो हमने सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक
डेफिनेटली जी शुक्रिया सर।
ओके यू वेलकम। और बताइए, और कोई कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
Sir, I have a question. That
यस प्लीज।
we learned that the alumni can do many things for the institution, but what are their
जी
demands and how the institute can fulfill their demand? I mean, they are investing, they are helping in various aspects, but what are
हाँ
their demands from their side?
हाँ, देखिए जब भी वो whenever they contribute in terms of infrastructure, they want their names or their parents' name given to that building or to that lab or to that equipment. At least they want to get their names displayed. कोई equipment दिया, so donated by such and such alumni of such and such batch, तो अपने बैच का नाम और अपना नाम भी रखना चाहते हैं। इसके अलावा हमने यहाँ पर एडमिशन्स में भी जो नॉमिनेशंस होते हैं उसमें चिल्ड्रन ऑफ एलुमनाई का कोटा हमने रखा हुआ है ना। जैसे चिल्ड्रन ऑफ एलुमनाई एम्प्लॉई का है, वैसे चिल्ड्रन ऑफ एलुमनाई का भी हमने कोटा रखा हुआ है। So we also know how to pay back to the alumni for their generosity. So it is a mutually give and take thing. वो हमारे लिए करेंगे, so obviously we'll recognize them. फिर उसके बाद हम उनको बहुत सारे सेशंस में हम उनको चीफ गेस्ट बुला लेते हैं, है ना। अभी जो फॉर्मर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं हामिद साहब, हामिद अंसारी साहब, वो भी हमारे एलुमनस हैं, है ना। So there are so many distinguished people all around. So we keep inviting them. जहूर कासिम साहब जो who was the first man on Antarctic, वो हमारे यहाँ के alumnus थे, who later became the vice chancellor of Jamia Millia. So that way, you know, we keep honoring those alumni for all the help that they extend. Convocations में हम उनको बुला लेते हैं, convocation address दे देते हैं alumni हमारे। जी और बताइए।
जी सर, मेरा एक सवाल का एक ऑब्जर्वेशन है मेरी
जी
कि अक्सर मैंने अलुमनाइयों को जो देखा यहाँ पे अलीगढ़ में जाते हैं, वो एक शिकायत करते हैं, वो ये कहते हैं अक्सर सभी के ये कि जो अलीगढ़ हमारे जमाने में था अब वो रहा नहीं। और जैसे कि एमयू के बारे में मशहूर भी है कि एमयू जो है अपनी तालीम से तरबियत के लिए जो है वो जाना जाता है। तो क्या आपको लगता है कि कुछ तरबियत के पहलू में कुछ कमी आ रही है? मतलब मॉरल जो है वो मॉरल इरोजन हो रहा है कुछ एमयू के अंदर? ये बात,
ये सिर्फ एमयू की बात नहीं है, ये पूरी दुनिया की बात है। एवरीवेयर द मॉरल वैल्यूज दे आर बीइंग इरोडेड, है ना। हर जगह हो रहा है ये यहाँ पर। और जाहिर है वो इफेक्ट जैसे जैसे हम ग्लोबल बनते जा रहे हैं वैसे वैसे वो इफेक्ट ज्यादा आ रहे हैं। पहले हम आइसोलेटेड रहा करते थे तो हम वेल कंजर्व थे। अब वो कंजर्वेशन हमारा जो है दैट हैज बीन जेओपर्टाइज्ड बाय द ग्लोबल नेचर ऑफ थिंग्स दैट आर हैपनिंग। अब जाहिर है हर कोई यूट्यूब देख रहा है, हर कोई दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है वो देख रहा है, उसका असर आता है। लेकिन एक चीज मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि आज से 20 साल बाद वाले ये कहेंगे कि 2021 का जमाना बड़ा अच्छा था, है ना। सो दैट इज द सिल्वर लाइनिंग कि जो है वो अभी भी बहुत गनीमत है और थिंग्स में गो फॉर द वर्स्ट। आपने एक जोक सुना होगा कि एक बहुत जालिम बादशाह था, तो उसने अपने बेटे को कहा कि बेटा कुछ ऐसा काम करना, हर कोई उसको बुरा कहता था, उसने कहा बेटा तू कोई ऐसा काम करना कि लोग मुझे अच्छा कहें। तो बेटे ने उसके अब्बा के बाद जब बादशाह बना तो और ज्यादा जुल्म करना शुरू कर दिया। अब लोग ये कहते थे अरे इससे तो अच्छा इसका बाप ही था, राइट। सो यू नो वी आर स्टिल बेटर ऑफ।
यस सर,
लेकिन तो हो रहा है, कंजर्व करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। आई एग्री जी।
यस सर, कैन आई से
प्लीज go ahead.
Sir, today I came to know many more things about alumni association. You have explained it very nicely, but sir, one of my observations is there in this matter. I think colleges differ from universities, you know. So you talked about various measures or steps which have been taken by AMU and others reputed universities, but I think that universities are having a lot of great infrastructure which a college doesn't have. And sir, I'm talking about my college. It is located in a very rural area. So we were told by the college that we have to trace out that all students and to get alumni association, you know. So sir, I faced it with various problem because I couldn't find a single person, and I wanted to talk to them, their guardian, our students' guardian. They were old students of our college, but they did not show any interest to talk to me or coming in colleges. Yeah, this is the problem, sir. And our college, what they are doing, they're only organizing one meeting or one association meet once in a year. So there is also a problem. That is also a problem, sir. So how can we get connected with more people or with more guardians which were old students of our college? Yeah, this is the problem, sir. I faced it that time.
देखिए, it is not a matter of being a university or a college. Even schools, they have to have good alumni base, right? Any educational institution has to have an alumni. हर किसी के alumni हैं. It is just that how do we tap them? How do we harness that alumni base? Being in the rural area doesn't put you to much disadvantage. In fact, that is an advantage for you when it comes to alumni. The alumni will be that much more sympathetic, and they know what all problems in rural colleges they have. Obviously, these alumni, they're not going to stay in that rural area only. They are going to metropolitans, cosmopolitans, to different countries. ठीक है, database छोटा होगा. It may be a smaller database, but still that database exists. तो आप छोटी help ले लीजिए उनसे, कम help ले लीजिए. 1, 2, 5, 10, whosoever come forward. फिर वो 10 आएंगे, फिर वो 10, they will pull back. They will pull back 10 more. They will pull back 20 more, 50 more. So it will be kind of, a gradually building database, right? So do not get disheartened by having a smaller alumni base. You make a humble beginning. मैं आप लोगों को एक स्टोरी सुनाऊं यहाँ पर. एक छोटी सी स्टोरी हमने बचपन में पढ़ी थी, शायद आपने भी पढ़ी हो. There was an area where there was famine. सूखा पड़ा हुआ था. A piece of the cloud came. And those drops of rain, they started talking amongst themselves. तो उनमें से कुछ ने कहा कि भाई कुछ ने कहा कि अरे जमीन इतनी सूखी पड़ी है, अगर हम बरस भी जाएंगे तो जमीन का कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. So let us not rain. But then one drop said कि मेरा काम तो बरसना है. Let me do it. And it came down. And there was this farmer who was having a very gloomy look because of the lack of the rain. That drop came and fell on the nose of that farmer. He became happy all of a sudden and he looked skywards. He said, "Arey, barish aa gayi." Now looking at the happiness of the face, all those droplets, the remaining droplets, they came down, and the entire area got, good supply of water. So let us be that small droplet. When we are that droplet, definitely a lot of drops will add to it, right? So do not get disheartened. Any other thing?
थैंक यू सर, बहुत ही अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया आपने एनकरेज करने के लिए. सर
जी.
पूछना था कि नेक एक्रेडिटेशन के लिए अलुमनाई एसोसिएशन एक चैरिटी कमीशन की यहाँ रजिस्टर ही होना चाहिए क्या?
नहीं, जरूरी नहीं. रजिस्टर्ड की मैंने बात की ना, उसके प्रोज एंड कॉन्स हैं. रजिस्ट्रेशन के प्रोज एंड कॉन्स हैं. आप रजिस्टर करा लेते हैं तो वो बहुत पावर गेन कर लेते हैं और अल्मा मेटर से भी आगे निकलना चाहते हैं. तो इट इज अप टू यू. आप अपने एरिया में देखिए. हम कोई ऐसी चीज आपको नहीं बता सकते हैं वन साइज फिट्स ऑल. हमारे पास नहीं है फॉर्मूला. हम तो सिर्फ एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर रहे हैं. आप इससे सीखिए और अपने एरिया में उसको कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं उसको वैसे यूज कीजिए. दैट इज ऑल आई कैन से. राइट.
अभी एक टर्म विकिपीडिया पे जब भी किसी पर्सनालिटी को सर्च करता हूँ तो अल्मा मेटर टर्म आता है. इन स्पेशली रघुरामनाथ नाजम के संबंध में मैंने जब उनके बारे में कुछ पढ़ना चाहा तो अल्मा मेटर टर्म यूज किया जाता है. तो एक्चुअली अल्मा मेटर है क्या और इसमें कौन कौन सी चीजें शामिल होती हैं?
अल्मा मेटर मैं जहाँ तक, मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल तो नहीं पढ़ा. मैं तो जहाँ तक समझता हूँ कि एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन जहाँ से आपने तालीम हासिल की, where you studied from, that is alma mater. That may be a school, that may be the educational institution, or agar if a combination of teachers, that also is coming under the alma mater.
Okay.
Right? और कोई कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? नहीं, जल नहीं रही, लाइट आ नहीं रही.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
As you have well said that on behalf of alumni association, do we can give reservation in kinds of admission to the students coming from the alumni?
Usme, see, the way we have worked out, there are some management seats everywhere, right? Management seats
Yes,
are
sir.
everywhere. So within that management quota, you can reserve a seat for the alumni. The management, they have to, in fact, this is the Supreme Court ruling that you are free to choose the category that you want to offer the admissions in. But within that category, you have to follow merit. Suppose you have 2 seats for alumni. So all the applications of the alumni, you have to pick up the highest marks child of the alumni. So within a category, you have to follow merit. But you can reserve seats under the management quota.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then, thank you very much for the 2 fruitful sessions that we had yesterday and today. And I wish all of you our very best. And I believe that this will be a beginning, a lot of thinking that you may have to take later. And this will form a basis of the experience in these 2 areas, outcome-based education and managing alumni relations. So thank you once again. And
शुक्रिया सर, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर,
Thank you so much, sir.
बहुत अच्छी गुफ्तगू के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
You're all welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Have a good day.